you come on this show. As soon as you hear the note. No front, no front, no front, no front. We don't want no frontin' on the show. No front, no front, no front, no front. Hey everybody, it's your girl AM with No Friend the Podcast. I know this episode is coming out a little bit later than usual, one day later, but it's for a reason. This episode is very important and dear to my heart. I am dedicating this episode to my grandmother. Recently laid her to rest last Sunday. So yeah, No Friend the Podcast is all about being upfront and real. So this episode is going to get real personal, y'all. So just bear with me. So let's tell you a little bit about my grandmother, Dorothy Lee Smith Mayfield. Ooh, that just screams Southern. Was born on September 11th, 1930 in Jefferson County, Mississippi, to a Ruby Lee McAllister Smith. Also, these names. And a George Earl Smith Sr. She was one of 10. I couldn't imagine having 9 other siblings or having 10 kids. But yes, she was one of 10. And back in the day, like many black people in the South, in Mississippi, they were extremely poor. But my grandmother and siblings, they were always close. And to be honest, they were close up until her passing. My grandmother took education seriously. She graduated from Jefferson County School, and then she went on to study psychology at Tougaloo College. She was a teacher for many years at Head Start. She definitely was, I think she was there for like 33 years or something like that, was there for many years. Definitely seen so many people grow, and a lot of people knew her for them being their Head Start teacher. She was married to my grandfather, God rest his soul as well, for 66 years. I can't even get past 6 days sometimes with people. And I can't believe they dated for 66 years. They were together until his passing. That's a blessing. Then he also had 13 kids. I never forget the one time, like, Lily asked them, like, how they kept having all these kids, and how he basically, my grandfather he definitely was one that didn't sugarcoat anything. Basically, they lived in a very small house, and every time they would have a baby, the house would get smaller, and he would say, Dorothy had to get closer to me, then all of a sudden she'd be pregnant again, and have another baby, and she had to get closer to me, and then all of a sudden she's pregnant again. Just not necessarily something you really wanted him to say, but it was funny. It was so funny. He would laugh at his own jokes because he knew he would have a serious face, but then he knew it was funny. But on top of them having their own kids in this little small 2-bedroom house, my grandfather and my grandmother took in other people's kids as well. They took in several cousins and raised them. Also, at some point, they actually had grandkids also in the house with their kids. So they had to find ways to especially survive, because they didn't have a lot of money even then. With all those kids, it's kind of hard to feed a family of that size. But God bless them to have a green thumb, and they had a beautiful, like, just bountiful garden. And they would, like, feed the whole neighborhood. Like, no one in the neighborhood had to really worry about food. And the reason we're having this episode on Sunday is that was my grandmother's favorite day. She would, they said she would go to church and then she would come home from church and she would just cook like feast, like just have anything like you could imagine, like like greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, hog. She made it. It was just, it was all there. Um, she just, and she never complained about it. She would go in there and she would do it from literally the bottom of her heart, her soul. So when you talk about soul food, she made soul food. Um, but she also fed the soul in so many other ways. Always having words of encouragement and prayer, and we always cheer people on. Um, she never really had a negative thing to say. She was honest. Um, she was real. Um, and she sincerely wanted to know what was going on in your life. She would ask a lot of questions, just to really, get to how you were feeling. And she was truly happy to see her children, her grandchildren happy. And she had 30 grandchildren. It's 30 of us, and I think there's still probably more. It could be more out there. And then 18 great grands. So God blessed her with so many um, generations, and has blessed her with so many different people. My family is made of a bunch of characters. I'm not the only character in my family. Um, and she showed us how to be strong. She's was the strongest woman um, that I knew. Yeah, honestly, uh, growing up, seeing her, you never really like your grandparents are like, of course, like wise, and they probably know a lot. But she would sit back and she observed. I say that woman, she was so like calm and content all the time, but she would just sit back and she'll watch and she'll talk and she'll laugh, but she was always positive. She was always a good. Y'all had a good energy. Um, Being in her presence was good. She had a smile that could light up a room. She could be real relaxed, and even when she was up in age and didn't always have her teeth in her mouth, she was smiling. It was an honest, happy smile. It wasn't forced. Um, but the thing that made her smile were always the simple things. She was always, I was actually very simple in like the most innocent and most honest way. And again, it could be because of how she was raised and wasn't raised with a lot, so I was always grateful and felt blessed for what she did have. And that's something that I struggle with. I always want more. Can't be content with the things that I have. But she showed how she taught me how being content could be. Just being in bliss and being around her family really was what made her day. And I'll tell you, my family is huge. People were running in and out of this woman's house at all times, and she never complained. She was always her response was, "Baby, go fix you some food. There's some food in there. Go get you some food. Did you get you some food? Go on in there to eat. Make sure you get you a plate." It was always that. It was always, "How you doing? What's been going on?" She'll talk to you, and she'll answer any question you wanted to know. She was so um, sincere in her love, unconditional love. I would say that. And she had the biggest heart. Like, of course, she had all these kids, and she had, of course, son-in-law and daughter-in-laws, and she never once referred to them as that. They were her family just as much as her child was, her family. Um, she would just call them son and daughter, simple as that. Uh, and I always made sure that they were taken care of, and was, much as a mother to them as she was to her own kids. Um, she was a very, very fair woman. I would say that, in her parenting, she was fair, and even in her grandparenting, she was always fair. I feel like in her eyes, sometimes the grandkid, as a grandchild, we couldn't do anything wrong, and I only say that because my grandfather was the one that was spare the rod type of grandfather. That, man, the beatings we have gotten, and the beatings I've seen people get. Um, he had a rule about no one sitting on a particular bed in a house, and you know we did not listen at all. We were gonna do what we wanted to do, and he was see and the thing is he was elderly, but he was quick. Ooh, he was quick, and I feel like he didn't care if he got all of us as long as someone got it. And I'll never forget, we were laying, we were all like sitting on the couch and chairs in his room, and he come out of nowhere, and I can't remember which cousin it was, but it was a male cousin. My granddad grabs the belt and he swings it, and when I say slaps right across the head, it was like I can still like feel it. Like I didn't get hit, but when I saw it then, I felt it, and I can feel it like right now. Like it was one of those. Um, One of the funniest thing, and then of course the rest of us immediately would calm down. And my grandmother through all this was just watch. She let us make our own mistakes. I know when my father and them say when they were younger, she didn't really she disciplined them in her own way. Um, she would see them do. She's an observer, so she would watch them do something, and she'll go up to them and simply say, "I'm gonna tell your daddy," and she would. Simple as that. After she said it, that means that she had watched you do something long enough that I'm gonna tell your dad and he gonna whoop you. Um, you needed to, what I mean, you did it to yourself at that point. Was always fair when it comes to that, because she wasn't gonna raise a voice or get in your face or be the one to discipline you. She was gonna go ahead and let my grandfather do it, because he had a special way of doing it. I said they had a beautiful garden. They had plenty of trees in their yard, so they were able to make have firewood and have all these different vegetables, and basically the blessing of having 13 kids, and you got 13 little farm hands that you don't have to pay, that can go out there and go ahead and pick all the harvest in your garden and bring all the firewood in. And luckily, I'm one of the semi younger of the grandchildren, because even some of the grandchildren had stories about going to get firewood and having splinters in their hands. Um, and they're doing all this hard work. Everyone looks at my grandfather as being like this disciplinarian, and then you have my grandmother that was basically, she was a nurturer. She was someone you can go to and have a real conversation. She would not understand exactly why you're doing something, but she would listen, and give you again just give you positive energy, positive words. It will make you have faith and believe in yourself. Again, she was a very strong woman, so everything she said was, something. It was always true. It was honest, and I feel like you have to be. It's hard to be honest. It's a cowardly way to lie or to fake it or to say what someone wants to hear, but to tell them the honest truth is strong, because you never know how someone may take it. And just her just rawness to do that, and just to basically the epitome of a grandmother. Just warm. That's the best way to to describe the feeling, warm. But again, her homegoing was again last Sunday, which was extremely um, difficult. But as a family, we definitely pulled together, and I feel like made her proud, made her happy because we follow her wishes to the T. Um, she didn't want no drawn out homegoing because she was at peace. She didn't want, um, basically, she wanted to keep the energy of give me my flowers while I'm living. So she didn't want all these people that could have gave her flowers while she was living, going on stage and, you know, um, basically, basically everything they would have said would have been true. My grandmother was a very kind woman, but just keep it simple. Um, Again, she was simple. She just wanted something very appropriate for her. Let her family let us grieve in our and mourn, but again, still be happy for her. And it was difficult, but we did it. Um, and I feel like it did bring us close together as a family. Um, losing basically the head of the family, the last one we had was definitely trying. We do still have, of course, out of our 13 kids, we do have 12. So we do still have that type of history. They still know all the stories to tell the great grands. So we definitely still have that. Um, but it's just she was she was the head of the family. She ran that household quietly, but she ran that household. My grandfather was, of course, the face of the household, but she ran it because she did so much for him as well. Uh, I'll never forget. Um, my grandfather used to work on the railroad, and they were saying that it got extremely cold. My grandma said it used to get extremely cold. Them going out there having to wake up early in the morning to go out there when it's dark, and it's really hard for them to stay warm. So she would iron his underwear, like all of his underclothes, and get it as hot as possible. So that way, when he put it on, it would semi be warm to kind of keep him hot. Um, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm not ironing nobody's underwear to keep them warm when it's cold. And I it that's just gonna be something that we just not gonna do. Well, I'm just not gonna do. But she did it in a very selfless way. Because clearly my grandfather could have ironed his own underwear, clearly, or it could have not been ironed at all. But she did it to contribute. Um, he was getting up early to make sure that their family was okay. So making sure he had warm clothes and also food. Make sure he had something hot on his stomach before he went to work. Um, was how she contributed as well. Again, of course, she was a teacher, so it was just more of her making sure that he knew that she was there and that she supported him, and he gave it back as well. They were definitely a good unit. They were a solid unit. Even when they would have their spats, they were a unit. Um, and yeah, definitely, definitely difficult. But pushing through. Um, Time heals all wounds, people. Um, no matter what your wounds may be, it it will take time, but it will happen. You have to claim that and believe in it. And I'm one of the people that I feel like you have to say it, you have to speak it into existence, you have to claim it, you have to acknowledge that maybe something isn't right and that you want to change something, and then claim that you can change it, and then hold true to that. The power of word, power of the tongue, is real. And if you don't believe it, let someone say that your breath stink, or that you're ugly, that you're fat, and they're just saying something to you. The power of their tongue can ruin your day. Um, but you telling yourself that, oh, I can, I'm gonna get that new job, isn't powerful. You don't think that's powerful. Um, so just always remember the power of your words, and that the people that you love, just by telling them that you love them, could really make their day. Um, Telling them how great they are, how proud of you are of them. That is giving them their flowers while they're living. That is letting them know that you care, and that even ask them how they're doing. Ask them about their day. It's easy to do in this day and age, even if it's through text. I understand that not everyone wants to be on the phone 24/7, but you can text the people that you love and just keep in contact. Um, that is really small, and it could mean the world to someone. I truly believe giving someone their flowers while they're living. That's why, on this show, I definitely want to shout out everyone that helps me with this show. Um, Again, Taylor Janae D helps out a lot. Um, yeah, she's she's a handful of people, and songs are dropping soon, so that's exciting. But yeah, um, Candy K definitely has been a motivator, someone to basically look up to as well. Um, I want to shout out to everyone that's been on the show, that watches, well, listens to the show, and show love on Instagram and everything. It really means a lot to me, people, honestly. And I realize that life is short, and you have to follow your dreams. And this is something I wanted to do, so I'm just happy that I'm able to do it with you all. And yeah, it's been it's been trying. 2020 has already been giving me a run for my money already. But it can only get better. It's just the start of the year, people. Um, but with that being said, I do want to thank every single one of you listening right now, for the support. So much is in store. Um, a free feature contest is still in effect. That will be announced next episode. Had somewhat of a setback, but we're gonna bounce right back. Next episode will be on the 14th, is when the song will be played. But I'm sorry, the 15th. People, take that back. Um, Actually, I'm wrong again. The 8th, February 8th. I'm having a long, 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 troubling day today. Um, on the 8th. And Friday is when I will announce it, the 7th. So, any local artists out there, again, you still have opportunity. Everyone, start giving those around you their flowers while they're living. Life is short and fragile. Again, thank you all for listening. It's being Girl AM. As soon as you come on this